What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Today on the program, speaking of entertainment, oh yeah, you can get many of your entertainment needs taken care of by this guest. I got Meosha Bean, filmmaker. That's such a small box. She writes, she directs, she stars, she cuts, she edits, she DP, second unit, key grip. I don't know what craft services. What can't she do? Meosha Bean. I've had her on the podcast already, so I know quite a bit, or at least a little bit about my friend Meosha Bean, but you're going to get to know a little bit more in the next few minutes. We're going to get to catch up with Meosha Bean. Oh, so stick around. You better stick around. This week's shows on Friday night, my usual Friday night gig. I will be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Pool tables, pool tournament. You could do it all right there at the Rab. Pool tournament. Yeah, you can actually make some money playing pool while you're waiting to sing on stage right next to yours truly. You're the stars of the show. All I'm doing is pressing buttons. I think this weekend we got like a 70s weekend on Saturday night, but I'll be there on Friday night doing my thing. So I'm kind of excited to be at the Rab. I don't know, maybe, do you want to do 70s 2 nights in a row? Or do you want me to go in a different direction? I guess we'll figure it out. Friday night at the Rab, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. Come and find your friends at the Rab. Hey, and then on Saturday, oh, so exciting. I got a wedding in Greenbrier, Arkansas, about 15 minutes away from my house. I'm so stoked about that. I mean, I go all over this state. I go all over the country if the need be. But I'm so glad to have a wedding and some really nice people, too. People that I know from karaoke are having a wedding. Their kids are having a wedding. So I'm stoked about that. And that's going to be in Greenbrier. But unless you're invited, you cannot come. Nah, boo-boo. But the reason I mention it is because I'm so excited I get to do weddings. I'm so excited. I get to do podcasts and weddings and radio. Just my life is pretty fun. I do take some time out to have some fun. And speaking of fun, I'm going to have some fun talking to my friend Meosha Bean. I got her on Skype. So if you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN, and find the video version of this. Skyping Meosha Bean now.
All right. Woo! I'm so sorry.
No, Meosha Bean, you are smarter than the machine. You are mucho tecnological. And I say mucho tecnological because I want to start it off in Spanish because you're my half Cuban sister from another mister.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, we figured that out at the end of the last podcast. The one where we figured out, oh, wait a minute. Florida? Is everybody in Florida half Cuban? Well, it would appear so.
Right.
It would appear so, either all the way or some of the way. But we talked of many things last time. It's so good to see your face. Last time we did a phone interview because I was just starting out with this podcast thing, and I had not yet figured out broadcasting and software and making things look as good as they can. And for those that are listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version so you can see the lovely Meosha Bean right there next to me, wearing a very smart hat and her glasses, looking very, very creative, very directorial. My girl, you've been doing so much in the past 3 years. I don't know if anybody can keep up. I'd say don't try to keep up, but wait, don't try to race her, but definitely try to keep up, or just you've got so many projects since 2019. We ended up, and you were just starting off with your tea talks with your friend Ingrid, I guess it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Irina.
That's it. Tea talks with Meosha and Irina. And I know, when I was first starting out with this thing, I kind of went through the years, and we went film by film. So I encourage anyone that hasn't heard that podcast, take a listen, because you really kind of go a little in depth, piece by piece. And we really hammered in where you came from, Gainesville, Florida, and where you went through Colorado, and where you ended up, L.A., Hollywood. Tell me what's been going on, Meosha Bean.
Oh, wow. So much. Trying to stay creative, and inspired, and trying to find the next thing that I want to do in life, not just film, but just, all around. But as a creative, though, I try to take time to step away and then get inspired. Like, what am I going to do next? What's next? Because right now I just did I've done 2 feature films, and those are coming out later this year. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, don't keep it a secret. Tell us about them.
Well, okay. The one I definitely can tell you about, it's a psychological thriller. We shot that actually in Atlanta, Georgia. It's so beautiful there. We shot them in one location, and we did it with just a really creative idea. It's super scary, but also more psychological, and you want it thought provoking. I can't really say too much, but the title is called Project Paranoia. Ooh, all I can give you.
Hollywood is a state of mind these days. It feels like a lot of productions are going on in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to give it up to the people of Atlanta. They must be given tax breaks, places for people to stay, breaks on lodging, possibly food. There's got to be something about what's going on in Atlanta that people, not just Tyler Perry, but a lot of other, Walking Dead is out there. I mean, there's a lot of productions going on in Atlanta. Why?
It's such a beautiful place to shoot in. The studios. The Tyler Perry Studios is so huge. I was fortunate to get to go. It is the biggest studio I've ever seen. I've been to Fox Studio a lot. I've got to pitch over there. Been to Warner Brothers. But the Tyler Perry Studios is quite massive. It's pretty gnarly. So I like that he has where a lot of people go to a studio. Like Netflix has been there. They did Wakanda, the new Marvel pictures. But I think it's coming up. It's like the next. It's like a mini Los Angeles or Hollywood, if you will.
Well, like I said, it's a state of mind. Many productions are in Toronto, all over Canada, all over the world. Really, the way that films are being made, it used to be way back in the 20s and the 30s when the talkies first came out.
Right.
There were only a handful of production companies that could afford this equipment that was so expensive. There was 5 of these special cameras that had 3 lenses on them where you could change, and it was close, medium, and far. And they were and it was film, somewhat like the film reels that are spinning in our background here. It was a lot more expensive and a lot less accessible way back in the day. Now, my goodness, you could shoot a whole film on your iPhone, on your smartphone, and make it look broadcast quality. Tell me about it.
It's a director. I think his name's Steven Soderbergh. I think he's the one that did the film. I believe he shot Unsane, and that was in theaters. And it was super creative. It was just he's just a mastermind at the phone. And he had I love that he wanted to film on a phone because it's cheaper budget. way cheaper budget, cuts the production cost majorly. But the fact that he made it look like film, I was very impressed. So it's a great time that we're in, because everything's online, digital. So you can sell something easily. You can an audience of, even this, what we're doing, online. I think it's a wonderful time.
Yeah, this is all digital. There is no analog involved in this production that you are listening to, my loyal listener. You are listening to digital, no tape, no metallic, reel to reel where I have to cut and splice and fit things together. This is all performed on a computer. I'm so amazed. I know I sound like an old man right now. I sound like my own grandfather. Hey, these computers are catching on. No, but they are. And we both went to school. You went to Full Sail. I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and we learned, how to splice. You learned a little bit about film and a bit about, the film that doesn't get used. And what was that called at the end? We still got about 13 feet left. And what was that called? The ends? And people are able to buy the ends and make films on that. But throw that all out the window. Steven Soderbergh, maybe you were the pioneer. Maybe you were the engine in this train. But there's a lot of people that have latched on and have done exactly that same thing. Have you ever made a film on a phone? And when I say that, you have to go to Amazon or any of these. I go to eBay. I'm the eBay guy. There's pieces that you need for a phone, the attachments, a microphone, and such. I'm kind of excited. I bought some lavalier mics, some wireless lavalier mics. Nice. Because I wanted to break away from the studio, from this really good mic that have, and I wanted to be able to do podcasts from anywhere. If I wanted to go out to the park and visit with someone, and I know you're a podcaster too. I want to get into that too. But tell me about shooting on a phone. Have you ever shot on a phone?
I have, actually. I have, and it was a film that I did some time ago, and it was fun. I just felt like it was more, I could do more, because obviously this little tiny thing, you could fit it in certain spaces that you couldn't get and put it on like a dolly or rig it somehow, but it was a challenge for sure to make it very nice and high quality. But like, we have the lenses, the kits, it looks pretty amazing. Like the depth of field that you'll get, you could probably get that as look at it like as a cinema camera would have. But I did, and I was younger, but I don't know if that film is still on YouTube. I have to see. It might be.
Well, there's a lot of films that you have on YouTube, and you've taken the time. My goodness, you're primarily in the horror genre. Yeah. That's your main thing. I mean, you didn't start there. You started with the music video for Roy Jones Jr. and the boxer turned musician. That's that was the turning point. We talked about that in great length last time. But okay, you're born in 90. I'm born in 69, and I'm remembering one of the first things that I remember learning about film. And I've never made a movie. I've never had I have the desire, but I've never taken the time to make a movie. But I remember back in the 70s, one of the breakthroughs that they had was the Steadicam, and Rocky was one of the first to use that Steadicam technology when Rocky was running up the stairs in Philadelphia on that famous run. There was somebody running behind him using a Steadicam. Is there something like that for your phone? Have you used that as well?
At that time, I probably didn't use it because I was so young and I didn't know like all the attachments. But I did get a few lenses. But I got into attachment with the putting a rig on your whole body and then walking with it when I did like bigger film cameras. But I never used it on a phone. But I'm sure I'm sure they have it.
Well, the people that don't know what a Steadicam is, and if they've ever seen the movie Aliens, the attachment that that the Marines, the Space Marines, used to hold their weapons to swing around on an arm, somewhat like the arm that I'm using for this microphone, is the Steadicam attachment, and it keeps everything smooth and level, even if you're running, even if you're bouncing around. And as a filmmaker, I know you like to make things perfect. And you know, as time has progressed, what kind of equipment have you changed? Okay, back then I had this, I had a this kind of camera, but then I moved up to that kind of camera. I mean, tell me through the years, what kind of equipment and where did you end up right now? What's your favorite stuff? Gear.
So at the beginning it was VHS tape. That tells you how old I am.
Not old.
I loved it. You know, it was just cool. And then from there, I moved on to, later on, I moved on to like, you know, digital phones, digital. It's like the digital would be like a Canon 70, 80, and, you know, just keep going from there. T2i. I have so many things. I loved it. I used to really love Canons. Like they would give great photos, you know, perfect image, great depth of field. And then I discovered Sony cameras after that. I love Sony cameras. That's changed over the years. But yeah, I had a Sony A7 III, which is, I mean, honestly, I shot 2 features on that kind of camera. So, and it looks absolutely incredible. I think 4K, it's a 4K camera. But then I progressed on from there to, I did Blackmagic, really good cameras as well. And, the Blackmagic Mini Pocket. Then I moved on to, I want to say an Ari. Aris are great as well. Those are the really big boys. Shot a few films on that. But I don't know. That's where I'm at mainly with a lot of projects. But I go back and forth with a Blackmagic too. So that's something I can use on a constant. Like somebody calls me, hey, there's a project. I'll bring that because it's it still gives you a good look. As Ari is just more expensive, so that would call for like a bigger budget role versus an independent film.
Well, I went to the first time I went to radio school was back in 1986. Yeah, back in the 1900s, kids, and that was all analog, reel to reel, cart machines, tape, records. That was all very warm, tactile. But then I said, around 2000, I said, man, I need to update because get with the times, get with the now. And I went back to school and I learned, there was still the reel to reel, but they said they turned that away very quickly. They said, hey, you're not going to use that ever. There was a lot of Apple, a lot of Final Cut, Final Scratch, a lot of Adobe Audition, Cool Edit, that kind of stuff. But the SL1, the Canon SL1 had just come out and revolutionized the way that filmmaking was being made. It took a camera that was so heavy you had to put it on a truck to something you could hold in your hand. And I think that was the beginning of miniaturizing your filmmaking experience and making it so versatile. You were talking about using the phone, you could fit it in certain places to get certain shots. And now, for people that are watching the video, you have placed a camera in a good spot to where you got that shot, and you don't have to worry about using your hands, and it's going to stay steady for the rest of the podcast. See, you've already got that in mind. Now, some directors don't know how to really to use the cameras so much. There's a lot of directors that are the boss, and then you have a DP, a director of photography, that takes care of all the shots. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I've been on both sides of that coin. Like I've done the cinematography, and I was also the director. So I think they work hand in hand. Honestly, they're sometimes there's directors that don't really know camera, but before we went to to making the film, we'll go over the shot list. And so they'll, what I try to bring out the vision that he has, but sometimes they quite can't understand, get it there. And that's what a DP is there for, to get you the actual, what you're envisioning, project, like the look for your film. So, it works hand in hand. And I don't expect every director to know, but I went from cinematography director. So I have the camera background, and I think it's the same thing as directing, but just the directors usually don't hold the camera or anything. They'll just tell the DP, this is where I want it, and the DP does the magic.
Well, just like most any job, Meosha Bean, the best bosses, the best leaders are the ones that have come through the ranks. Okay, say they're the manager of a restaurant. They started sweeping floors, washing dishes, and then moved their way up to emptying waste baskets, and did every job up till they became the manager. So that way they know, hey, look, I was there. They have that respect. You've come up through the ranks. Okay, when you say filmmaker, when some people call themselves filmmaker, they're not Meosha Bean filmmaker. You're writer, you're director, you're the filmographer. You do the storyboarding. Tell me, do you do the storyboarding? Is there
I actually,
wow,
yeah,
tell me about that.
I do the storyboard. Yeah. I do the storyboard. I actually have before I got into anything. When I was younger, I did a lot of art. Raw. I have that was one point I wanted. One point in my life I wanted to go for art, but it just didn't. It wasn't a love for it. I love film, but I still do art in there, and I incorporate it with my work of if I have obviously the professional storyboard people, I do want that at the end. But when I'm going through the process, when I'm making a project, I like to just draw it out and show it where the camera's going to be, the angles, where we end. I'm very meticulous with. I think it's very important to have, and it's a great skill. So I'm very blessed to have had that before getting into film. Is this better?
Yes. Oh my goodness, the right tools for the job. Okay, I'm not going to cut the beginning part of that. I want people to know and see and hear, you had one piece of equipment, and then you had a different piece of equipment. Now, this is the stuff that you use for your own personal podcast. I want to know about that. You said that you have been learning things and you'd like to take some time out. I don't see how you could take time out. You have a podcast called Creators for Creators, and you have been giving information after information. Tell me about that.
Thank you. I love creators to create, because I love hearing people's stories and just how they did it. And I think we're all on this journey as creatives, right? What should we do? Are we making the right decision? Are we on the right path, kind of thing? So it's really interesting to just hear people's perspectives and things like that. You're oh yeah, I'm not alone. And so that's been really the most rewarding part of the show.
Oh, the tools for the job. Okay. You started off with you have one podcast with your friend, and once again, Ingrid.
Irina.
Irina. Oh my goodness. I'm going to keep calling her Ingrid, and she's going to
laugh. She's going to laugh
slap
at this
me through this thing. She's going to call me on the phone, and physically her hand is going to come out like one of your horror films out of the phone and slap me in the face. Hopefully that's the only punishment that I get. But, it's nice. Once you get the knowledge, once you get to a certain level, once you get to a certain skill, you want to impart that information. Once you get, all right, you're the daughter of a preacher man. Okay. He opened up that good book and he saw those good words, and all he wanted to do was tell everybody about all those good words in that good book. And I know that you've incorporated, certain religious elements into your logos, into your filmmaking, into all of your avenues of creativity. Tell me about how that has changed your life or has driven you.
Very, very much has driven me, for sure. I feel as a creative, I don't know, just I think it's important to incorporate yourself in things, right? And your journey, and be truthful to this as much as you can. I would say for sure that I always wanted to incorporate like religious elements into my films, because I feel like, God is a part of my life, and I think he's a part of, he's the God who created everything. So why not dig into that and try to, use that and reach people in just a different way, or make people look at it at a different perspective, like maybe Christianity is not so scary, so.
Or maybe it is. No, the words God-given gift has been spoken by many people. They attribute their all they are and all they can be and all they will be to a greater power. I was born as a Catholic. Now I'm an American. You grow. And I've been through the gambit, and I've tried to live as a good person, and a lot of that might be the teachings that I've had as a child. I know that I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. Their religion is very important to a lot of people. And I used to be a zealot. Read that Bible back to front at least 5 times, and then several, little parts that I loved in the middle. So knowing that.
Do you still read it?
No, I don't. But I know a lot of it, and okay. I know that there's parts of that of the Bible, like one of my favorites is John 30. I and the Father are one. And a lot of times Christians will stop right there. I and the Father are one. And it'll say, it'll mean, oh, Jesus is just like God. Well, if you keep reading, it says the Jews picked up the stones and they started throwing them at Jesus. And then by John 10:36, he goes, hey, I didn't say I'm God. I said I'm God's son. So there's you have to read in context all of it, and it's a good read, no doubt about it, man. And it's a good book of instructions. So that good on you if you keep that somewhere in your psyche, and keep that as part of your life. It's a good thing. It really is. But continue.
I look at well, I don't, faith and all that. I look at it as I don't call it a religion, because I feel like religion is very it's kind of like you feel like it's like an organized, it's very strict, very just like, but I feel like God is, and it's spooky. When you hear that, you're like, oh, they're spooky people or whatever, religious people. But I think Christianity is, at least for me, I look at it as a faith walk. Like it's like a relationship, like a conversation with God, and having someone that is obviously powerful than us, our creator. Because I think sometimes going through life, we disconnect so much. I think that's important, because it's, as much as we feel our stuff, our like spirit, like our physical body, with things, I think it's also very important to fill that up with spiritual things as well inside of your body.
Well, the term walking the straight and narrow comes from the Bible. It's that narrow path to righteousness. It's very hard to keep on that narrow path. And one of the things I do is I try to stay on that narrow path. Yeah, I like watching horror movies with all that filth and there's blood and guts and gore and such. And how do I make that right? With the teachings of a Bible. I didn't want to be, as much as I loved reading the Bible and the fellowship of being with other people, I couldn't be, I felt like I was hypocritical when I was on one side of the aisle, watching these types of movies where would Jesus be okay with that? I don't know. So I didn't want to have a fight with him.
I honestly feel like, for me, I like the kind of scary movies and things that I like to make is about, like, I look at horror as it is something that could be in our daily life. It doesn't have to be monsters or ghosts or demons even. I think like our behaviors can be very scary, and that can be a horror. And I think I lean more to the psychological horror, where it's kind of diced in like some realism or things that are like a social commentary. So I'm really like very aware of, like, for me, I lean more to that. There's nothing wrong with the other horror as well. I think it's great, but yeah.
Meosha Bean,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my loyal listener already knows that you don't have a lot of monsters in your, creatures that are inhuman or superhuman in your stories. A lot of them are psychological. A lot of them are what's around that corner. What is that light? What was that sound? There's a lot of gophering in there where, what was that? I often wake up in the middle of the night listening to sounds out there. I'm living out here in the country and I hear, a certain animal sound outside my window. What was that? What was that? So I could see that some of your movies are, more in your own head rather than the external, where something out there is going to get you. Your own feeling is going to get you. But you're right. Humans can be horrible people. I wish there was no need for an armed forces to go off to battle other people. Can't we all just get along? But it's we all want to live in peace, but I know I'm getting off on a different tangent, and I don't know where I'm going with this. And sometimes I ramble, but these are things that I love to see the human story put down on film, and you have ideas and creations in your head that you have the ability to put them to film, to put them out there, whether it be on YouTube or Amazon or Apple or whatever platform, and create images and change minds and feelings. Oh, what is it you love most about all these things that you do? And I know you're not just a filmmaker. You have other avenues to explore. I want to know. Tell me more about Meosha Bean, and what do you think about all this?
There's a lot to me and to the creative world, but that I love. I think as humans, I'm a very curious person. So there's nothing that I don't want to discover. And I feel like that is a part of just, all of it, the creative expression and just learning from life and growth. For me, it's like, it's learning something new that I really enjoy about the creative aspect of everything that I do. Like, I'm always constantly trying to be a better person, because take away the film and stuff like that, take away the title. It's at the end of the day, it's it's just yourself. And it's that's what I like about all of creative and putting that into film, or whether it's, express myself through fashion, just different avenues I'm really interested in. But yeah, there's the sky's the limit, to what we can create while we're here on this earth. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to sound too deep.
No, Meosha Bean, I learned a long time ago when I was a very young lad. I think I must have been 10 years old when I saw The Shining, and it freaked me out. And I know we talked about that before, but I know from that age to now that film it's fantasy. It's fake. It's not real. And if I could, there's two schools of thought. There's those, people on that side that say, hey, if you watch a lot of violence in your movies, in your music, in your art, it's going to create violence in your head, and you're going to want to do violence. Or there's the more sane people like myself, and I'm projecting. Okay, I'm being very, very biased. The ones that see that stuff, and can, view the horrors that humanity has that has in reality. If you could put that on film, and hopefully that becomes a release for people, getting away from their day to day and watching a Meosha Bean film, whether you're the filmographer, the director, or you're the star of the film, because you're also in front of the camera as well. But if you can create these images and give people an idea, look, this is what could happen if humans interact like this. Don't do this. What do you think?
I love those. I love that. It's like It's like Jordan Peele, like every movie that he makes has a message in it, right? There's all these nuggets and little things that are just so like, you know what I mean? You're like, wow, this is like it's entertaining, it's scary, but I'm also learning something, and it's like that's really cool that we as creatives get to have this kind of platform to do this kind of stuff, to provoke the minds of anyone. And I feel like it's really cool. I'm very blessed to be able to do that. And you know, I'm not the most I'm not openly I don't talk about politics much on a lot of platforms, but you know what I mean? But, you know, I love to talk about social commentary related to what's going on in the world right now and put that in a film, but in a way where it's like, it's not like, like hitting over your head with information, but it's more like subtle, and you're like, oh, and it makes you want to talk about it later and maybe, you know, think, just having an open mind to different things.
No, I like movies with a message. There's always been a moral to the story, and the moral to the story is, you know, you learn something, you know, whether you're getting a bedtime story when you're a kid, and the moral is brush your teeth all the time. Be nice to other people, share your toys, you know, that kind of thing. Or, you know, I was watching Robert Townsend movies when I was growing up, and Spike Lee definitely has some messages in there. In fact, one of the movies that gets stuck in my head right now while I'm thinking about this is I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. And I remember he was talking about certain things, and his brother would come up as the mailman through the window and go, message, just to point out, just to really put a fine point. What he was just saying right there in that moment, that was important. So if you need to rewind this film, you go ahead and do that, because there was a message there that needed to be driven home. And I know that there's so much going on in the world, and you have the power. You have the power. You know, people watch, you know, these dragon movies, these fantasy movies, but there's always messages in there. I'm a Trekkie. I like Star Trek. But there was always messages in there, you know, the racial diversity in the crew, and you know the way that they didn't need money anymore, and the whole world got together. You know, a lot of people think that those ideas are crazy. The whole world can't get together, but we have to get together if we want to go. If we want to go out into the universe, we have to be one world, right?
Yeah.
Can it happen?
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Well, I mean, you know, hey, you could think a certain way. I mean, maybe countries are important. Maybe having borders is important. Maybe having, you know, a strict immigration policy is important. You know, and this is not just political stuff. This is important. You know, these are people all over the world that are hurting, and I'd love to help everyone. But it really, you know, all I can do is pretty much sweep my own front porch, take care of my family, and then maybe if I have a little bit extra, take care of the people in my community. Then maybe if I have a little bit extra, take people in my city. You know, how far can you reach? But with you having this platform where you have images, you have thoughts, you have ideas, you can reach literally millions of people. You know, there's been thousands and thousands of people that have watched your films just on the YouTube channel. And everybody that's listening to this needs to go to Meosha Bean's YouTube channel, click subscribe, share it. It's important. You know, these are important things. These are important ideas, important thoughts that you're putting out to the world. I can't stress it enough. You have the power to change lives, change minds with your creativity. What do you think about that?
That's kind of crazy, right? No, this just that idea, just like that. It's like it's a heavy kind of platform, and you know, you get this position, and you're like, I mean, really, when I first got into it, I got into film because of Alfred Hitchcock. It was watching his short form films and finding that was, you know, you could make something in that a 30-minute, 20-minute space, and then, you know, you made a masterpiece. You changed my mind. You made me think about something. I learned something, and it's very cool that we get to do that, you know. And but it changed over time as I got older. I kind of want to talk, definitely talk more about things that are happening in the world, because like you said, it is kind of almost, I feel like it's like our responsibility as creatives to do that.
I mean, I think about watching Psycho, the 1960s version of Psycho, and even the Vince Vaughn version of Psycho was shot for shot the same movie. But, you know, hey, somebody had an idea to do that. But watching the original with Anthony Perkins, just, you know, his mind just deterring, look, he lost his mom. That was the one person that was keeping him all together. And when she was gone, you know, you could see the mental anguish that was coming over him, and unfortunately it came out in murderous ways. And these are that was just a touch. That was just the candied version of that. People have struggles with their mind all the time, getting their chemistry right, you know, taking pills. Maybe this pill will make me happier. Oh no, I'm too happy. Let me take this pill to make me a little less happy. And now let me get my chemistry right. You know, it's not just that, but it's, man, I feel for people that are losing their minds, and it's not just the physical. But you could speak to that. And I know we're getting deep here, but last time we had an idea of who you are, and now we need to find out where you're going with this thing called film, with this filmography. Where are you heading, Meosha Bean, as we wind this thing down, I guess? Where are you heading?
That's a great question. Where am I heading? I'm shooting for the stars. I feel like I want to definitely, as a creator, I want to dream without limits and continue to keep that, no limitations on what I could create, or the possibilities are endless, and I just want to be able to help and reach other women and that want to get into this industry. I mean, I love the guys. Yes. But, if there's something, my heart is definitely towards a lot of women who don't get those opportunities or see themselves as much in certain positions. But so hopefully that, to be able to speak to that, maybe join an academy or something, talking to women or whatever. But knowing that, we can do this, and we're here because, if I can do it, you can do it too. So it's one of those things of just being able to continue to create thought-provoking projects and good things in the time to come, and maybe my own studio. We'll see.
Well, I'm not dumb. I know that I've had the opportunity. I've had the ability to see people like myself on the screen my whole life, and I know that diversity is the key to success. Was I watching Hamilton? The one line on Hamilton that gets the biggest applause is "Immigrants get the job done." People, diverse people with diverse ideas. It can't just be one type of person. And if you look a certain way, you're going to want to see people that are kind of like you. You might want a woman, a black woman, a Latina woman, because you're not just one thing. You're all these things. You're even more than those things. Not everybody. I don't think there's going to be a white man, a white man, because I'm half Cuban, half Irish, half Italian. I know that those are three halves, but I'm a big dude, okay? So I can fit three halves there. But there's not just one type of person. People are in this melting pot that we call America. I believe that. I love that we can all get together and create things. And speaking of getting together, the more your projects grow, the more people you're going to need. Maybe you are going to have to step back and become just the director in the seat watching the dailies, and let a director of photography go off and do those shots, and maybe have a second unit go off and do those shots. I mean, do you dream about projects that get bigger and bigger where you need to have third units going off to get B-roll in other parts of the country? What do you think about that?
I love that. I love that. Yes, please. I definitely can see that for sure. It's exciting because I know that, when I first started, I started from a girl from Florida, just had an idea and just had a dream, and I kept it going and saw it through. And then, yeah, I'm here now. I've created so many things where I am now in my space, my time, my life right now. But I know that it's going to continue to grow. The more you water a seed, it just grows. So I'm very excited for that. So yes to the third unit and having someone to shoot some another country, and not just here in the States, but yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Well, you've already done that.
Happen.
You've already done that on a smaller scale where you've directed people all over the world, to direct themselves. Hey, can you shoot this piece of film of yourself and then send it to me, and then you'll cut it together and make it into a film? What? That is crazy. We've already spoken that the internet it can be used for good as well as evil, and you're using it for good, where people can film themselves. So, I mean, how much responsibility do you want to take? Because that's pretty responsible, especially as budgets grow. People start saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars. In fact, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars. In fact, I'm going to give you 10 times X amount of dollars, but you got to give me this back. I expect that return. It's so responsible when you're dealing with other people's OPM, other people's money.
Oh yeah,
I learned about that back in the 1980s. Never spend your own money, and when you do have to spend your own money, it's a big gamble. And I know you've been doing that your whole life. Mostly, it's financed by Meosha Bean, right?
Yeah, I've financed it. And lately it's been really cool because I guess the past 3 years, I'd say I've been getting more finances from distribution or through other people. And it's really nice to be able to have worked done all these projects. And then now I have a few, I know a few distribution places now. It's really nice that I can reach out and, they can give us a platform and help us to make our movie. Cause it's tough to make a movie happen, especially a feature, it's, it's a lot of work. You need the money for sure. And all the help you can get.
Oh my goodness. And product placement. Yeah. This film, sponsored by whoever.
Yeah,
it's tough, man. And then all these people that give you that cash, they want a piece of it. Sometimes you gotta let go of a little bit of creative license. Who gets final cut? Oh my goodness, that day that you don't get to have the last word. Will you ever give up that control?
Yeah. Definitely. I can give it up. I'm good. I don't need that much control.
Well, there's a lot of times, and I've said it before, the editor is who makes the movie. Yes, the director and all the cast and all the crew can give them miles and miles of film, miles and miles, and these are metaphorical digital miles of film. But that editor is that one that's going to cut it into just the right amount, give you just the right beats. Oh, maybe he should hold, for another second before that next line. Bam. And hopefully the director has thought about that ahead of time and hasn't just gone straight to the next line and give you that beat. Give the editor something to work with. You were talking about coverage before. Sometimes you need 2 and 3 different shots from different angles for people to work with. Is that what coverage is?
Oh yeah. Yes, that's exactly right. Coverage is super important though. You have to have the coverage because like you said, you don't want to go back. And then when you have a budget that a company's given you, that's people's money and hands are on that. So you have to be very delicate, with your, with time. You got to make sure you got just enough within the budget. So yeah, the coverage is super important. We did a project for BT and BT Network, and it's a thriller. I was one of the assistant director on it, and we definitely, our thing when before we got on set, we were talking about how we want to make sure we get enough coverage, just make sure we have that extra, just, it's better to shoot more than less. Less is, it definitely, we need more footage, because just in case you don't want to, like, say the editors in another country, everybody's kind of spread out and doing their own, some are edit. So we're editing online, or, so we don't have to go back and do reshoots. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to be definitely doing reshoots sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm watching some films. I've been on a kick lately, where I'm watching films from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, some Roger Corman films where,
oh, nice.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. They're zany. Some of them are just like incredibly crazy, but you can tell that they used so even the ones that are, I say Roger Corman, the ones that are lesser than that, they're the films that, a monster from outer space, whatever. And you could tell they used every bit of that footage and put it out there on the screen. There was nothing left on the cutting room floor because they didn't take the extra time, or they didn't have the extra budget to take that third shot, that second, that third, fourth shot that they may have needed so they could splice it in and make it look just right. You had this shot, and that's all we had, and we moved on, But,
that's it.
Have you dealt with that to where you don't have the luxury of reshoots? You have that one shot and that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've done that. And that's a lot of pressure. Because you're just like, oh man, if I suck, this could be the end of my career. I mean, really, so it's like, I don't know if anybody's going to work with me, but I think every creative has had that moment of, like, if, you're on a project like that and you can't go back and get coverage, this is the take and you got to keep going. Yeah, you want to make sure that you know what you're doing.
Well, I'm a man who likes, practical effects and practical things. I really appreciate a rubber monkey suit, and I really appreciate, somebody, Jackie Chan getting blown up and actually hurting himself for the sake of creativeness. You don't really have to do that anymore. You can do that with green screens and CGI. And, there's not a movie reel sitting behind me in this video. This is a green screen. This is, CGI. This is special effects, baby. And this is on a small scale. But, you have to have the right computer, the budget to get all, to have people that can do those effects. You talked about Soderbergh. I know that him and some other people have really pushed it to the limits with their special effects. Was it Cameron, James Cameron? He had to wait until the special effects caught up to his vision. I mean, do you see that? Because I know you use a lot of practical effects, which I love, but will you use, special effects, computer effects?
I'm not really big on special effects. I think it's really great that we can do it, but there's something about practical effects and just, really get it. It just adds a different element and a feel to the film. I did a film, and we use a lot of just we didn't want to, obviously, because I think sometimes green screen, it can look a little too fake. Or, you're like, I can tell, sometimes. But to be on the safe, I think practical is better. Personally, that's just me. I mean, I'm not saying don't use effects. And I'm opposed to it, because I actually got this project a couple years back. But we never actually got into filming. But it was with Warner Brothers. And it got to the process of what we were going to do. It was going to be an animation, it was going to be this. And I was like, I've never directed an animation before. So just that world was different. And I was like, oh, so I was going to do something like that, but I'm definitely a big fan of practical.
Well,
what about you?
For the merchandising itself, I mean, nobody can go to buy an Avatar costume that was used in the movie, because there was no Avatar costume used in the movie. It was all CGI. Right. If you want Darth Vader's helmet, you can go buy Darth Vader's helmet if you got the money, right? You can buy a monkey suit from Planet of the Apes, 1969 or 68. You know, you can buy those physical objects that collectors really love, and the more CGI, the less those physical objects are going to be out there. You know, you were talking about animation, the cells. You know, people used to do draw cell by cell, frame by frame, drawing on a piece of plastic. You know, the characters. Now it's all in computer, so you can't go buy a cell like you could from Disney or Warner Brothers or anything like that. But you know, we all have to change with the times. You know, we can't stay stagnant. Yes, we know how it used to be done, but then we gotta get with the now. And as projects get more and more expensive and more funded, you want it bigger, better, faster, more. We got to take advantage of these computers, don't you think? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not against it. Definitely love computers for sure. Like it makes it easier, and it's faster. You know, definitely cuts the time. You know, with a lot of things. But yeah, it's exciting what technology is going to and where we're getting at. Like where we're going with it. It's pretty amazing.
Well,
we're living in a good time.
Yeah, filmmakers, you know, some of your compatriots, I guess, like Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. These are two guys that really love filmmaking. I can tell every time I hear them on an interview, they love filmmaking. But Quentin Tarantino would be more practical. You know, using real swords and a lot of, you know, the splattering of blood and, you know, making things, you know, practical. Where Robert Rodriguez will direct the Spy Kids and it'll be all CGI. And you'll go, man, those are, you know, Kill Bill and Spy Kids are great films, equally great films. But you could see the two different styles, and from what I understand, they got to be like if not best friends, they're friends. So, I mean, are there filmmakers that you work with and filmmakers that you've come up with, and I know that you've been mentored by? I mean, people that you work with that you really enjoy. Do you find that you keep working with them over and over?
Oh, yeah, I think that's very important. My mentor, he actually used to be a writer for Warner Brothers, and he did a lot of like films like Puff Puff Pass, This Christmas, and so many others. He is someone that I was very fortunate to meet early on in my career when I was starting in Los Angeles. And so, you know, we just continued to make projects, and he, you know, we like our chemistry when we work together. So, just to learn from him.
And his name is Warner, no relation.
Yeah.
I remember.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You remember. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been, you know, we create, actually, matter of fact, we're going to be creating something soon, a film, a feature together. We're going to write it. And I'm very excited to work with him and continue to, you know, have these relationships. It's very important to keep those relationships. And I have mentors that are very, very famous. Some I won't say, but you know, like that I can call and say, hey, how do I do this? Or, you know, and it's really, really nice that they still want to help me because they see something in me. So it's like, oh, thank you, you know.
Well, Meosha Bean, I love that you can create something that can live on forever and ever and ever. It can be changed into different mediums. You know, the celluloid from yesteryear got digitized to DVDs, laser discs, then DVDs, and now it's all digital to where you can stream these movies that were made back in the 1900s. Some of them are very problematic. Some of them have messages that maybe we shouldn't hear, but, you know, there's history there. And I'm not one to erase history. I know that, you know, our history, the world's history, American history in particular, there's some bad things that happen in this world. And a lot of that was put down on tape, on film. And, you know, I think that, I don't know. I don't know if it should be destroyed. I think we should look at it and go, ooh, don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
You know, should we destroy it? Should we destroy all that historical footage? Or should we learn from it? I don't know. I think go ahead.
Learn from it.
Learn from it. All right, we've been pretty deep on this thing, and I know that we pretty much scratched the surface once again about the things that you're doing now. You have 2 feature films that are coming out, and only one you gave us a hint of, the name of. You're so secretive, Meosha Bean. And next time you come back here, I want you to spill everything. All the tea needs to come out with you and Irina. Don't just spill it with Irina, spill it with me. Spill that tea. No, but what's on the near horizon? I have all your links to all your various things in the show notes. That I got your linked your link tree, I guess, was the most important.
Oh, yes. That's good. So I definitely update pretty often, like all the new stuff I try to keep up there. Super fun. I like link. It's cuts the workout of putting like a bunch of links and like, hey, go watch this, guys. But yeah, on the near horizon, I have I just did a feature I'm acting in, and I did the camera work in that, and so that was a challenge, but it was really fun. He's also a filmmaker and creative, so I'm very excited about that, and I think I can actually talk about it. Yeah, it's that's called Meosha.
Oh my goodness. You've been using your name in so many films, so many projects over the years. You're going to keep using your name. You're going to build that brand. I'm going to see your name on the top of a building, top of a building that has a studio inside, that has several floors of different studios. You're going to have a talk show up here and a Saturday Night Live type show over there, and music ways to make water films over here. You're going to have I could see it. I could see it. Meosha. Meosha. Just and you keep saying water that seed. No, we water that bean. Meosha Bean. Water the bean and watch it grow.
There you go.
All right. Let's give some shout outs to people that have helped you out along the way, and then we'll give some last words for the people. Meosha Bean.
Okay. Shout outs. All right. Definitely my parents, they're my rock, and why I'm as level headed as I am, and being in this crazy industry, to begin with. So thanks to mom and dad, my family, of course. But some people that I want to give a shout out to is the whole crew and of Night Games. It's a new film that's coming out this year as well. It's a feature, and I'm acting in that one, so it's not mine. But yeah, shout out to the whole team of that, and Ronnie Warner. I love you, Andrew Preston, my amazing friend, actor, and everybody that's listening.
All right, big ups to the preacher and the teacher. That's your mom and dad. Not in that order.
Hey.
The dad and mom, I guess, as well. All right. Thank you so much for coming out here again and spilling and giving a little ideas and little tidbits of a little more insights on who Meosha Bean filmmaker is. And I encourage everyone, at least if you don't do anything else, step to the YouTube, go put us subscribe on there. Like it, go, watch all those little short films that she's got on there. Oh my goodness, I encourage you. But I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. I'm so happy that we got a chance to connect again. Let's do this again real soon and talk about what's happening in the near future. But, let's finish this thing off with last words for the people. Could be words to live by, words that you wake up with every morning, a mantra, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Meosha Bean, give the last word for the people.
My last words would just be, don't be afraid of taking risk. Take a risk, live life without limits, and dare to believe in the impossible, and watch your life change.
Well, there you have it, party people. Meosha Bean, filmmaker, and so much more. Very thoughtful person. So happy to have you back on the podcast, Meosha Bean. Oh my goodness. Always good to talk to you. And, always good to be following you around. I follow you on my Instagrams and my TikToks and and of course the YouTube. I mean, you know, for the people, for my loyal listener out there, the YouTube, definitely you could get a taste of who Meosha Bean is creatively, and then watch the films on Amazon, a lot of different platforms, I guess on Apple as well. But oh, and listen to the podcast too, Creator to Creator. You'll get some more insight from the great Meosha Bean. Thanks again, Meosha, for being on the podcast. That takes care of this edition of What Makes You Famous. I look forward to hearing more from you in the near future. Now, if you, and now I'm turning my attention to you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.